Today we're making faux eggs. Oh my gosh, that was cheesy, huh? Okay, but we are making 3 amazing vegan egg inspired recipes. We're gonna do tofu scramble, which is a great replacement for scrambled eggs. We're gonna do a vegan omelet, and we're gonna do vegan deviled eggs. They're gonna be awesome, and I can't wait to share them with you. Hair is up, so you know we mean business, egg business. Okay, we're starting with the quintessential vegan recipe everybody should know. Like, this is like an OG. Everybody needs to know how to make this when you first go vegan, or if you're just looking to eat less eggs or you can't eat eggs, whatever. This is the one that you should be making. Tofu scramble. I lived off of this the first few years I went vegan, and because I went vegan back in 2016, there was no Just Egg, there were no any of these egg products that exist now, they weren't there. Okay, it was like tofu scramble, and that was kind of it, and like chickpea flour eggs. And my tofu scramble recipe is one that I worked on for years to figure out how to make it, how I liked it, how I thought it would be good. Kind of reminds me more of like a soft scrambled egg. So these are them. They're fluffy, they're delicious, and I'm so excited to show you how to make them. You're gonna start out with a block of extra firm tofu. I like the Nasoya extra firm tofu for this because it's like a little bit of a softer extra firm tofu. If you find that the extra firm tofu you're using is hard, you might want to use a firm tofu. It just comes down to preference. Then I opened up my tofu container, and I'm just going to use my hands to crumble it into little pieces resembling a scrambled egg. And you can make these pieces as big or small as you want, but I feel like a decent sized crumble on them works well. So super easy. Then we're just going to add in some non-dairy milk. I'm using the Ripple Pea Protein one. We're going to add some vegan butter. I'm using Miyoko's. And then we're going to go in with some seasonings. We got salt, turmeric, garlic powder, onion powder, and some black pepper. You can add in whatever you like to this. And we're also going to add in some nutritional yeast and some vegan mozzarella shreds. Bring this over to the stove, and we're just going to let this cook up for like 5 to 7 minutes on a medium heat. You'll know it's really done because the turmeric will have activated, the vegan butter will melt down, the vegan cheese will melt down, and it should be a nice fluffy egg-like consistency. We want this to have a little bit of liquid in there. We want this to have a little bit of moisture, and that's it. Look at how good this looks. I like it plain, but you can of course add in whatever you want. So I'm just going to plate it up. I'm going to add a nice heaping scoop onto a plate. I keep it super simple on top and just add some black pepper and salt, but you can of course add other seasonings, herbs, scallions are great, whatever you want on here. I'm gonna have it with some bread and some blueberries, and there we go. This is like the easiest breakfast in the world. So good, getting lots of nice plant protein in there, and it is so delicious, and it's such a fun one. And like I said, it's a classic recipe. So I plated it all up, made it look nice for you guys. And tofu scramble is great because you can really put it on anything you want it. It's great in breakfast burritos, breakfast wraps. Eat it like this. You can add in tons of veggies to it. So it's one of those recipes that's super versatile. Actually, the full recipe that I made, this will probably last me like 2 to 3 days. Keep it in the fridge. I am a plain tofu scramble girly. I do like it to just kind of be as it is, but it is good with some veggies in there. Every time I eat it, it brings me straight back. It brings me straight back to when I first went vegan. And yeah, this is just like a classic recipe. It's a classic recipe. It's easy to make. As you can see, it's literally all made in one pan. It takes a few minutes. Before I get any comments, if you would like to add in black salt, go for it. I personally am not looking for that sulfuric acidy flavor of eggs, so I'm okay without it. But you can always add it in if you like. And yeah, there's tons of tofu scramble recipes on the internet, but I do hope you give mine a try because it's a really, really good one, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. For our next recipe, I'm going to show you how to make this amazing vegan omelet. So if you have my cookbook Plentiful, this may look familiar to you because this was actually the first place I shared the recipe for the omelet, right here in the breakfast section. And actually in the cookbook, there is a lot of vegan egg recipes. We have potatoes and eggs here. This is a recipe inspired by one that my grandma would always make me. Breakfast burritos. We've got a quiche recipe, quick breakfast sandwich, a vegan version of eggs in purgatory. So just always, if you're interested, my cookbook is always linked in the description box down below. This is my hardcover cookbook. I also have separate ebooks that have other great recipes in them. So I have lots of options for you if you guys ever feel like you want to just support me in some way, because it does help to support all the recipes in the channel. But anyway, okay, back to our omelet. So I love this one. This is completely soy free. This is a great recipe for breakfast. You could add in any vegetables that you like, and it always comes out delicious and looks so good. So let's make it. To start off our omelet, we're actually going to work on our veggies first. Now, again, you can use whatever vegetables you like in here. Omelets are a great way to use up any veggies that are kind of on their way out too, but I just did some chopped spinach, onion, and zucchini. I particularly love this combo together. It's very good. So I'm going to add it into my pan, and then I keep it super simple. I just add a little bit of salt, black pepper, and spray oil to start sauteing those veggies up. I like to cook them ahead of time because they're not really going to get cooked in the omelet. So while those cook up, we can work on our batter. So we're using chickpea flour for this. Then we got a bunch of seasonings, garlic powder, onion powder, nutritional yeast, turmeric, and salt. I just always like to kind of swirl it up in my little bowl for some reason. I don't know. And there's also black pepper in there too. So we'll add that in. We're going to add in canned coconut milk. You could use full fat or low fat, and some vegan yogurt. This was a coconut milk yogurt, or you could use any kind you want. And you're just going to whisk that up until we get a nice fluffy batter. It should look something like this. Easy. So then once my veggies are done, I'm going to remove them from the pan. I'll transfer them into like a little bowl or something. Don't worry, I'm the only one eating this. I can use my hands. It's okay. And then set those to the side. We don't need them right now. Going to spray that pan again. I'm not going to clean it in between because it'll have like all the flavors from the veggie in there too. Add in our batter, and then we're going to cook it for about 7 to 9 minutes on each side on like a medium-low heat. You'll start to see it looks dry in certain areas and wet in others. The dry is the darker spot, the wet's the lighter. So give it some time on each side. And carefully, you can kind of use a spatula to move it around. Now, when I went to flip this, it broke, and that is so not a big deal. Don't worry. You can just kind of rearrange where it broke and kind of mush it back together. I've made this plenty of times where it broke, and it doesn't matter. It's okay. Otherwise, you could let it cook for a little bit longer on each side too. And when it's all done, it'll look like this, and you could see it like formed its shape right back up and just cooked onto itself. So I promise it is totally fine if you break it. And then I wanted to add my filling to that bottom half. I was just kind of showing you guys because I knew that top half was a little bit more sturdier. Added in some vegan cheese, folded it over, and then I'm going to just pop this back on the stove for like a few minutes just to melt it. Little tip, add in some water and then cover it with a lid. This helps the vegan cheese to melt up much better. And that's it. Now you have this beautiful, delicious vegan omelet to enjoy for breakfast. I'm just going to top it with some fresh basil and parsley just to give it something. And I also did some red pepper flakes and sea salt on top, and that's it. You can enjoy this with bread, with potatoes, with fruit, with some vegan bacon, whatever you want. It's such a yummy one. The texture on it is so delicious. I wanted to show you how soft it is when you cut into it. It's so good. All right, so I just took my pictures, so my plate's looking a little messy for it, but I wanted to do a little taste test. So this is what it looks like inside. It should look dry. That's what it should be like. Cook this on a lower heat and let it go for a few minutes. Like, take the time to just let it cook slowly. So we have one more recipe to make, and also all these recipes are always on my blog. You can find links in the description box down below. I put the ingredients down below. I put links to anything I think you may need for these recipes down below. So check out the description box, and if you've watched this far and you're not subscribed already, you should maybe consider subscribing. All right, let's make our last vegan egg recipe. So I am so proud of these, okay? I think they look amazing. We make these using agar powder. We'll talk about it more in the recipe. I tried my best to make it without the agar powder, but it just wasn't working. You do need the agar powder. However, it should be pretty easy to find. You could easily order it online. I actually found mine in a local health food store. I feel like it's one of those things that's coming around more. I feel like you could definitely find it at an Asian market. So there's a lot of places to look that will probably have it in person. Otherwise, I'll have a link for you down below. You could order online. It'll be here in like 2-3 days. So it's really like nothing too hard or too crazy to find if you live in the US. And yeah, I'm just so proud of these. Like, I love them. I'm so happy with them. So let me show you how to make them. Our secret ingredient is going to be agar powder, and this is just made from seaweed and it gels up. It's pretty cool. So you're going to add in 3/4 of a teaspoon of agar powder and 3/4 cup of water. You're going to bring this over to the stove, and it's important to do this step so you could really see what's going on and see it being dissolved in there, so you just know what's happening. You're going to cook it at a medium-high heat for about 5 minutes until it starts boiling like this, and then you'll know it's good to go because it'll be like a thick gel on the spatula, and also if you touch it, it should feel smooth and gel-like. So that's all you're looking for. Then we're going to add in some non-dairy milk. Again, I'm using Ripple here, and we're going to add in some vegan yogurt and mix this together, and that's it. And you can add a little salt if you want, but I mean, egg whites are pretty plain. I don't feel the need to add in lots of flavor here. And then we're going to pour it into our little egg molds. I got these online, so I'll also have them linked down below for you, or you could like use a circle if you don't really entirely care about having an egg shape. and you're going to put this in the fridge for about an hour. There are some air bubbles. If that bothers you, just pop them ahead of time. To make the little yolk part, we're going to use some Yukon Gold potatoes. I wish I had a big potato. I only had little ones, but that's fine. So I peeled them. You do want to peel them for this. I'm just going to boil them because I was kind of letting these cook as the egg white chilled. I just left them whole, but you can always chop them into pieces if you want. I kind of like cut it with a spoon as I'm cooking it to see how tender it is. You want these to be really super smooth. Then I'll drain out the excess water, and then we're going to add in a bunch of seasonings. We've got, again, turmeric, nutritional yeast, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, kind of the same stuff always. And I'm just going to start to mash this with the back of a spoon. We really want to get everything nice and smooth in here. If you have a potato eraser, this would be a good time to use it as well. I added in some vegan mayo and just mix this up. If you want to add in mustard or whatever else you like for a deviled egg, feel free to. And I don't know, this is kind of crazy. I think it has like a nice consistency for a deviled egg filling. And if you want it creamier, add in more vegan mayo. You could add in vegan yogurt. You can make it spicy. You could do whatever you want. So then I have a star piping tip and a little piping bag. I'm just going to transfer that in. Again, if you don't want to do this, you could just like scoop it in there. You could cut a little snippet of a Ziploc bag, make big dollops. It's your choice. So now our little eggs are all set, and they are slippery, so be careful. Obviously, as you saw, this one popped right out, and they look so cool. Like, this is crazy to me. And like I said, I did try it without the agar powder, but I could not get it to work with any of the other substitutes, so you need it. So I just always like to do a little test run of squeezing out the filling before I go ahead and add it on. I didn't scoop out their centers because I just felt like it was silly. Like, I could just plop it on top, it'll be fine. But if you want to scoop out the centers, you can. And this is why you really want to make sure your potatoes are nice and smooth, because right here we had a little piece of potato part that's stuck, so I had to clean out the tip. Not a big deal, but as you could see, it took me a few tries to get the right top on there. And look at these, they're so cool. So now I'm going to plate them up, and I'm just going to keep the garnish pretty simple, just some paprika and fresh parsley. Of course, you can do whatever you want on here. You could add in some microgreens and stuff, and you can make them look really pretty and cool. But I think these are so impressive. Like, I am shocked by them. In true me fashion, I filmed this part of the video already, and I thought I had filmed it at least, and then it didn't film. So let's do it again. All right, so we've got our vegan deviled eggs, and I don't know, I really love this recipe, guys. Like, I'm amazed by them because they really look like little eggies. So as you saw, like, they were very easy to make, and I know having to get the agar powder is like a little tiny of an annoyance of an extra step, but it does make a difference. You do need it. There is no replacement, unfortunately. It shouldn't be that hard to find if you live in the US. Like I said, I found it at a local health food store. Like, it should not be that hard to find. So we'll do a taste test. I'll eat the other half of the one that I ate before. So actually, I'll just show you because this is the inside of it. So the thing is, I will say the egg white part is pretty egg whitey. It really does remind me. It might be like slightly harder in texture, but it's great. And it's like, it's got that bouncy feel like an egg white does. It's just crazy. And then the filling is really where all the taste is, like in this, you know, the deviled egg yolk part. That's where all the flavor is. That's where all the taste is. You can add in mustard. You can add an extra mayo. You can add in whatever you like. So let's just take a bite. I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me to like be able to make a recipe like this. Does it taste exactly like a deviled egg? No, but I think this is so fun for spring. I think this is fun for like if you want to do a tea party, Mother's Day, Father's Day, anything that's coming up. They are delicious. They are so fun. And I don't know, I'm just really happy with this recipe. So those were our 3 eggy recipes. I really hope they helped you out. I hope they open your mind into how we can transform ingredients as a vegan, you know, or just somebody who is looking to eat less eggs, or if you just have like the egg ick right now and you don't want to eat eggs, like real eggs, but you want kind of like an egg substitute. Don't worry, we got stuff. And as always, the full written out recipes are in the blog. Links in the description box down below for that. I write the ingredients in the description box down below. I tag anything I think you may need in the description box down below. Just check out the description box. It has everything. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with another recipe. Bye.